The advice I'm about to share with you is going to blow your mind, get you unstuck, and hopefully inspire you to take your next step. I hope. It really did take me over 20 years of my life, so really most of my life, and loads and loads and loads of experiences, both good and bad, to learn this. So stick around till the end, because number 4 is really something that changed everything for me. So if you're like me, a creative, curious person who gets stuck overthinking and doubting yourself sometimes, this is for you. I'm Agnes, and I talk about everything from overcoming self-doubt to finding yourself again, to being more curious about life and finding the courage to get out of our comfort zone, to explore the world and really live life. So get comfy, grab a beverage, and give me a few minutes of your time, and hopefully I will try to enlighten you. Advice number 1, don't take advice from someone who is not where you want to be. How many times have you gotten stuck, slowed down, or started doubting yourself after someone told you that whatever you're doing is not a good idea? For example, a few years ago, a couple of friends of my partner were getting too comfortable giving my partner advice about our relationship, unsolicited advice. The thing is, neither of them ever had a successful long-term relationship, and only a streak of heartbreaks, fights, and hurt trailed in their path. So would you really want to take advice from someone like that? Well, me neither. The thing is, many times these people who urge you to be cautious and advise you against doing whatever it is that you want to do, or push you to take a safer route, they often are talking out of their own fear. So the first thing I would always advise you to keep on top of your mind when you are receiving some unsolicited advice from someone, before you agree or disagree with that advice, ask yourself, is this person someone I would like to be? Have they achieved something I dream of? Have they overcome a challenge I'm struggling with right now, achieving the outcome I'm hoping for? If the answer to any of those is no, well, then here you go. You're actively thinking for yourself and not getting pointlessly influenced by people who are on the path you are not interested in. Advice number 2, people who project their insecurities onto you all the time. Don't listen to them. So when you approach someone like your parents, friends, co-workers, or partner and tell them about this cool new idea you had or something challenging you'd like to try, their first immediate subconscious response is,
"Oh, I wouldn't do that."
Or,
"I would do something else instead."
Or,
"Are you crazy? That's never gonna work."
And other things like that. So let's put our scientist hat on and deconstruct that, shall we? Do scientists even wear hats? Let's have a look at it this way. First thing happens is you share your idea with a person. Then that person subconsciously immediately imagine themselves executing that idea you just shared with them. In the eye of their mind, they see themselves fail, because you know how people tend to see the worst case scenario, like always. And because of that, they immediately tell you that you shouldn't do that because you will fail, because it's dangerous, because whatever their mind made them see in the worst case scenario way. And so they default to telling you that you will fail as well, just because they imagined themselves subconsciously failing, and they now project that onto you. That's a very important thing to know. But the thing is, who are they to know? Like in the previous point, where I suggest you to don't take advice from someone who is not where you want to be, if these people haven't made any significant progress on the goals that you have set for yourself, or the idea that you're sharing with them, or they haven't achieved it, or not in the way that you want to achieve it, or they failed and they never tried to make it happen again, that means that their opinion on this subject really means nothing. Because if you're determined to see things through, to see your ideas through, to achieve your goals and to work on making them happen no matter what, turn a blind eye to those people who see their world through a filter of fears. Recognize when people make their opinions based off of their own worries, and decide whether their opinion is useful to you or not. Again, if they are someone who you aspire to be, then maybe yes, take their opinion into account and see if it can be useful to you somehow in readjusting your path to achieving your goal. However, if the answer is no, then that's it. Thanks, move on, and bye-bye. Advice number 3. Make it exist first. make it better later, or the f it mindset. So the advice number 3 builds on what we discussed already. First, we learn to think for ourselves by determining whether or not the advice that we receive, unsolicited or not, is helpful in our case. And then we get to work. This is what the advice number 3 is all about. And this one was a big one for me. I used to be a perfectionist at heart, and oh, how much of a perfectionist I was. Wanting to do things perfectly well on the first try, always drawing neat lines and creating perfectly proportionate illustrations, writing words that flow smoothly without messing up my sentences, or creating plot holes that I don't know how to fix. Well, spoiler, literally no one ever has achieved that on the first try. When I go back into writing in 2021, after years of not touching it because of feeling not good enough and feeling like I'm not ready, it was taking me hours just to write one page. I was mulling over sentences for who knows how long, and paragraphs were literally squeezing blood and sweat and tears out of me before I even knew where the scene was going. I wanted every line I wrote to be beautiful and inspiring and poetic. Wanted every drawing I created to be a masterpiece, worthy of a drawing prodigy. And through that, I pretty much never got anything done. But then I learned something that would completely change my life and make my perfectionism really, really cringe throughout the process. And that was to make it exist first, make it better later. Okay. This one was not easy. The idea is to allow yourself to be shitty until you learn how to do it better. Allow yourself to do things as bad as possible so you release the pressure of caring about the perfect outcome. The silly little truth is that the shittier you do it, the better. Because with every line you draw, with every sentence you write, and with every video you make, that fear of not being good enough and that pressure that we had instilled in us ever since we were children to outperform everyone else is being released step by step, melted into nothing. Oh, and it was so freeing when I first allowed myself to do things badly. I mean, of course it was painful at first, but then as soon as I stopped caring about achieving perfection, even though I'm a complete newbie in the thing that I'm trying to do, there came a strange sense of freedom and a whole new wave of creativity I didn't even know was there in the first place. And I want to share something with you to prove my point. And I'm going to cringe, so please don't judge me. When I took up interest in drawing recently, I was really worried, again, in a perfectionistic way, to mess up my pages because I really wanted my sketchbook to be perfect, you know? Like you see these sketchbooks on Pinterest or YouTube or somewhere else, and you see all these amazing artists create these beautiful pages and spreads full of really masterful art, and that felt very intimidating. So one advice that I saw somewhere, maybe it was a video or something, some artist suggested to make your first page in your sketchbook as shitty as you can make it. He really meant as as you can make it, and make it right there front and center, front first page, so that whenever you open your sketchbook, you are reminded that this is meant to be practice, this is meant to be a work in progress, this is not supposed to go in an art gallery to win whatever awards art wins. This is meant to be a fun experience for you, a fun hobby, really. So, following his advice, I made my first pages as I could, so that later I wouldn't care so much about making a mistake. And through that, I allowed myself to just have fun with it. And then with time, as I allowed myself to just do it badly and not really worry about perfectionism, I started seeing my skills improve. So, okay, I did some little study about how to draw noses and lips and other things. Then did another little experiment with lips and hatching drawings that were very bold and very out of my comfort zone and scary. But here we are, I did it anyway. Then I started experimenting with paints. Can you see that the things are improving slowly, step by step? And that's the thing. If you allow yourself to be shitty and just do things badly on purpose, it really relieves that pressure of having to achieve something great, and through that allows you to have so much more fun with the thing that you're working on. For example, another thing, recently I got myself watercolors because I was really craving some other creative activity, and in order to practice, I made a spread full of weird little ugly drawings, only to have fun and to practice experimenting with colors and other things without pressuring myself to have to achieve perfection. And it was much more fun this way, trust me. So whatever it is that you're working on, if you're a perfectionist like me, that first step is gonna hurt. But then I promise you, as soon as you release that pressure and fear to have to achieve perfection on your first try, things become much more fun. So make it exist first, make it better later. Advice number 4, of course you don't know how to do it. Speaking of allowing yourself to be shitty, there is something to be said about learning how to do things and picking up a new skill. Many of us have the pressure to get things right on the first try, to draw something well, to pass the test, to write a masterpiece or excel through your first workout class in months and prove ourselves that we can do better than others, that we can excel, that we are superhuman. This is the curse of perfectionists. The thing is, if you've never done it before, of course you don't know how to do it. Think about it. If you've never written a book before, of course you don't know how to do it. Of course it's scary and intimidating. If you've never painted a masterpiece, of course the paints aren't going to magically follow your hand by a stroke of luck and behave exactly as you'd wish them to in your mind. If you've never spoken before a public before or made a video before, of course you might feel stressed and nervous the first time or the first few times that you do it, no matter how much you prepare. But that's the thing. If you've never achieved it before, of course you don't know exactly how to do it. The chances to get it right on the first try are very slim. So just go out there and try multiple different approaches until you find one that works. Be like a thunder that explores multiple branches before finally reaching the ground, its final destination. So if you've never done it before, of course you don't know how to do it. And the fastest way to get to your goal is to explore and experiment with multiple different approaches instead of getting stuck in one school of thought. Okay, we covered a lot here and I hope your mind isn't exploding just yet. To summarize, here's the best advice I learned in the past 29 years of my life, and I hope it will help you see the world in a new way. Number 1, don't take advice from people who are not where you want to be. Number 2, people project their insecurities onto you all the time. Don't listen to them. Unless they are someone you would like to become, always take their advice with a thick grain of salt. Number 3, make it exist first, make it better later. Have the approach to everything you do. You will save yourself a bunch of drama, headache, and performance anxiety this way. And number 4, allow yourself to be because of course you don't know how to do it at first. Explore, experiment, and make as many mistakes as possible. Be like a thunder trying to find its way to the ground. If this video helped you untangle even the smallest knot in your mind, it would mean the world if you subscribed. I'm building a library of these watch this when videos, and I would love to have you along. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks and bye.